rather than cooked up for you today. We got One Piece episode 1141 where the GOAT Luffy uses Saturn as a punching bag. Also, I'm glad that Toei redid the scene of Bonnie finding out that Luffy is sun god Nika. They changed the lighting and the music to a more serious tone to fit the setting of this serious moment, rather than stick with the upbeat music of the drums of liberation they had going the previous episode. Great change indeed, solid 10 out of 10. Now I know y'all ready for this heat. So grab your golden Oreos and pink lemonade. Them shits fire. Now on with the heat. So the scene opens up to Dory and Bragi landing on Egghead Island as they command Kashi and Oimo to lead the crew to the right and left and destroy the ships. Oh, and real quick, last video I mentioned that Dory and Bragi pulled up from Little Garden to Egghead. I forgot that they were with Shanks at Elbaf, so my bad. It was one of them situations where I felt like I was mistaken, but I didn't want to fact check. But yeah, I'm not gonna hold you, gang. Each and every one of the Marines will be completely justified if they chose to resign after witnessing everything that took place on Egghead. But the Marines got a little dog in them because they tried to fight back. But unfortunately, they done dug themselves a greater hole for trying to attack them. Now with them being powerless Marines, they have no way of escaping this size 100 boot. They might as well call it GG's because they're cooked. So now the attention of the Giants is specifically on them. I mean, yeah, they would have got cooked eventually, but they chose to speed up the process. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, we see the gang spectating the situation as Usopp is surprised, wondering why the Giants are now at Egghead, as Nami states that Oimo and Kashi are on the scene as well. So Edison's like, them boys clearly attacking the Navy, so they must have heard about the situation and pulled up like some real dogs. Which Usopp puts two and two together and came to the realization that the Giant crew pulled up to help them escape rather than for war. So Usopp tells Nami to hurry up and get ready to go. So Nami contacted Lilith, who is with Brook, and Brook lets Nami know that they're on their way with 1,000 Sunny. But Brook funny as hell talking about some will pass by you soon, so Lilith had to crash out on bro and let Nami know about the situation. Meanwhile, this nigga Zoro is still dealing with Rob Lucci. I'm not gonna lie, bro gotta wrap it up. But it seems like he won't be able to do even that because Jinbei's already on his way to shut it down. So Zoro's talking about some, you're persistent, I'm in a rush. See, my thing is, if Zoro understands that he needs to end things quickly, why not pop on the power boosting Dewey and max that nigga Lucci out? But nah, instead he got this nigga Lucci feeling like he really pressing something. Just look at how he's smiling and talking trash simultaneously while having Zoro on the defensive. I already knew it was crazy when Luffy was spectating and had to ask Zoro if he wanted him to slide and pack Lucci up. And we already know that Luffy be respecting the 1v1s. So you know Zoro been dragging it if Luffy had to say something. Now Lucci got to talking his shit and was like, you guys are a bunch of idiots who can't leave a single crew member behind. As long as you're breathing, your crewmates are trapped here. But Zoro's like, nigga, don't act like you're in control of how long we fight. Not gonna lie, it most definitely seems like Lucci's in control right now. But yeah, panning on the other side of things, as the pacifistas are attacking the Marine soldiers, Vice Admiral Red King starts commanding them to have the small and medium ships to fall back and pull up the warships. And with that, they boomed a pacifista. Now I know we all curious on what was the thought process behind this design. Like, that nigga's design throws me off every time I see him. But yeah, so we see that Katarina Devon and Van Augur are now on Egghead. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Bonnie's crying as she's watching Luffy aura form, so Luffy asks Bonnie why she's crying, which Bonnie tells him that she's been looking for him. But bro's like, what do you mean? I've been with you the entire time. Bonnie's like, I didn't know you were Nika. But unfortunately, Luffy has no clue what Nika is. So she goes on to let Luffy know that she always wanted to throw a punch like him, and if you know Luffy, then you know he's one, so always keep it real. So bro's like, oh, I remember seeing you throw that weak ass little punch. Bonnie's like, then show me the real one, and tells Luffy to punch Saturn for Vegapunk. Bonnie really hit that big bro get him as she started pointing her finger and everything. Luffy's like, Vegapunk, and sees Vegapunk on the ground injured, looking dead as hell. And remember last video how I mentioned Saturn always spamming the word insect? Yeah, he back at it again, talking about some, you foolish insects, there is a reason you must die. Like, bro really projecting hard as hell right now. So Luffy's now locked in as Bonnie tells Luffy to get them off the island, which bro's like, say less, I got you. And immediately started to show her how to throw the punch she desires. And Saturn tries to put a stop to him, but to no avail. So now he doubled down and winded up two of them shit since Saturn tried to interrupt. And hit Saturn with that Don Gatling, straight piecing him up with a big smile on his face. Meanwhile, Bonnie's watching in shock, recalling what her dad stated about Luffy as Luffy's giving Saturn the minks to the face. And Luffy's son Saturn flying with a mean right punch. The hit was so impactful it brought a tear of joy to Bonnie's eye. But now the gang has to get going, so Bonnie tells Vegapunk to slide with them, but he's in no condition to move. As Vegapunk states that he'll die if he moves, which Kizaru chimed in and was like, you'll die if you don't move, and fired a laser beam directly at Bonnie and Vegapunk. But Sanji put up quick as hell like, get that weak shit outta here. kicking away Kizaru's beam. Light speed is just too slow for these niggas. Frankie's shocked that he kicked the laser beam, but Sanji's like, it don't matter to me. Love is stronger than that of light. But Kizaru's like, if there were true physics as we know it would be dead. Now watch this man Sanji aura form as he remains chilling there with his hands in his pocket and tells Frankie to not let Bonnie get hurt. So they getting ready to dip, but Bonnie don't want to leave Vegapunk behind, but unfortunately they don't have a choice as Vegapunk tells her that she must leave with Kuma. So Frankie grabs her and they take their leave. Meanwhile, Sanji's still posing for the flick as his Captain Luffy alongside him aura forming as well. Meanwhile, Vegapunk in the back injured still looking dead as hell. So Kizaru's like, I'll lose face if I don't bring back your heads. As Luffy laughs at that nigga, and you already know Sanji's gonna always have something cold to say, especially once he whips out the cigarette and lighter. So bro was like, just write a letter of apology. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Katarina, Devin, and Von Augur pulled up on Saturn, with Katarina managing to touch Saturn, stating mission complete. And for those that may not know, Katarina's devil fruit ability is to become a perfect replica of whoever she touches. So she's now capable of mimicking Saturn's appearance. So they got the chatting at Saturn's like, I never thought savages from level 6 would submit to someone, which Katarina's like, teach is special. As Saturn's aware that she is referring to his bloodline, which those who've read the manga already know who Blackbeard is related to. So Saturn wants to know what they're after. And that man Van Augur, who been sitting back there looking nonchalant the entire time, finally decided to open his mouth and was like, the world. Now that didn't sit right with Saturn, so he tried to boom them, but to no avail, as Van Augur done warped them to a different location on the island. Surprised that they're still on the island, Katarina asked if he could have warped them even further, but bro said he's still under training. So as they're walking, Caribou pulls up behind him looking like he fiending for something. And after stopping them, he got the glazing immediately talking about some I set out to sea wishing to be just like him, which he clarifies that he's trying to be like Blackbeard's man and starts begging to see Blackbeard. And yeah, that was One Piece episode 1141 in all its greatness. You already know this episode is absolutely pure heat, a solid 10 out of 10 for me, cause One Piece never miss. Now with that being said, if you made it this far, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe.